Hi दोस्तों नमस्कार वेलकम टू आवर यूट्यूब चैनल बाजीराव IAS Academy. Today is 10th of October and we are going to discuss the daily Hindu newspaper analysis. Today we have to discuss lots of articles as you are seeing in the screen, and about 6 articles we will discuss, and all these articles are important not only for the mains but for the prelims purpose as well. And for the prelims, you are observing that the pattern of questions and the area of dimensions is increasing. So you have to elaborate your depth of knowledge. And for that, the newspaper reading and understanding the basic concepts becomes very, very important. So we as a team try to provide you the basic concepts first of all, and then try to discuss the editorial. Okay. So we are not only like reading the articles, we are providing you the detailed explanations what is written and also the critical analysis of the article. So you are requested to please share these channel to your friend circle, like, share and subscribe, so that any important update if comes, then definitely it should be delivered to you immediately. Okay, now we start our session by discussing some of the important prelims question as well as mains question. So why I try to choose is that the questions in prelims, more and more you practice, more and more accuracy you will assume. Okay, and today's question, it is related to the geography section. And in geography we have very vast syllabus, like you have to do mapping, you have to do the conceptual part like physiography, like climatology, like oceanography. But here what I am trying to say, that in prelims, if you are well controlled by the map, if you know the map carefully, that means about 8 to 10 marks belongs to you in an easy way. Why I am saying, because the trends in the UPSC questions is like they are making the questions difficult. Okay, whether it is current affairs or whether it is a static part, but these mapping question is very, very easy to solve. And for that you have to be regular in practice, like seeing the location in the atlas, okay, as well as seeing the neighboring countries or the states. So after observing the map, you will be clearly identification with the various features of the location. Okay, so try to get a strengthen in these topics, because these are marks fetching question, and if you are able to solve it, then definitely the marks is going to come and your score will improve, and you can also clear the cutoff very easily. So today's question, it is related to the mapping, and the question is, Mediterranean Sea is a border of which of the following country? And it has been asked in 2018. Even in 2023 we have 3 questions about mapping. Okay, that's why the relevance of mapping becomes very, very important. So the option is Jordan, Iraq, Lebanon, Syria, and you have to select the correct option. We will provide you the answer in the last session of the discussion, but before that you can try to solve it by pausing the video. And this is very, very easy question but little bit confusing, so please try to solve it carefully. We are able to help you. Okay, and after discussion of the prelims, you have to attempt the mains question, and this mains question has asked in 2023 UPSC GS paper 2, and as students find the GS paper 2 something more difficult. Why? Because this requires analytical thinking, and analytical thinking will only come when you have a proper reading of the newspaper, the articles, as well as the important articles that are published in various magazines. So we try to provide you the conceptual clarity. Okay, and these are the articles related to the Panchayati Raj system or the local self bodies. And frequently you can see that in the editorial section these type of articles do come. So try to read that, and we are providing you the analytical concepts of all these articles. So try to be joined with us, okay, so that your analytical power will increase, and not only that, your marks will also improve over the time, because you will be able to link with the various concepts and the means answer writing. Okay, so the question is, the state in India seems reluctant to empower urban local bodies both functionally as well as financially. Comment. You remember that via 74th constitutional amendment, we have the urban local bodies, okay, and that has been granted a constitutional status. And there are various functions given to these urban local body. But there are various challenges associated with it. First of all, they are not compulsorily given the taxation power, and because of that there is a financial constraint, and if there is a financial constraint, that means they will be not able to deliver the proper services they want to aim. So that's why the finances become a very important thing, but the government, the central government or the state government, does not focus on enhancing the funding of that body. So there are various challenges associated. You have to link the concept and also try to mention the challenge, okay, and you can try to answer in the comment box, so that other students may also engage with your answers, and they can also recommend some points regarding this. So we have discussed some of the basic things. Now we are shifting to our editorial discussion. And when we talk about editorial, the first article will be related to GS paper 3. And it is very important article. This year also, UPSC did ask about the artificial intelligence and its role in medical sector. You can also go through the previous year paper. So today we will talk about multimodal artificial intelligence, what we mean by it and why it is important, okay, in coming times. So when we talk about artificial intelligence, meaning what? Meaning giving the thinking power to the robots, to the machines, okay, so that machines can also think and can act in an independent way, okay. So in coming times, we have its application in various dimensions, whether it is in the medical sector, whether it is in the development of technology, whether it is in the development and analysis of various reports, okay. So there are various sectors, and also there is a contribution of it in the space sector as well, because the data which we receive from the space via satellites, they needs to be analyzed, and if there is a artificial intelligence that has efficiency to research, to analyze, that means we can find very important evidence of various theory, of various postulations, okay. So there are multi-mode benefits of using artificial intelligence, and the importance in the coming year is going to increase much and much, okay. So when we talk about multimodal artificial intelligence, it means like users can engage with artificial intelligence in several ways. Like users can integrate with the images, they can understand, they can find the title of the image, and also not only the title, what are the emotions behind that image, and not only the image, it can also focus on a video and many more things, okay. In simple terms, when we talk about multimodal system, like when we talk about a human, okay, how human decode a information. First of all, he or she will look on an event, and his sensory organs like the ear, okay, like the eye and the skin, the nose, they sense each and everything, okay, and because of that they absorb some of the data into their mind and they try to process. So in multimodal system, the artificial intelligence is going to work like this. And what will be its benefit? Its benefit will be that the certainty of information is going to increase, and we can trust on the data. That is basic example of multimodal system of artificial intelligence, okay. So to have a accuracy in artificial intelligence, it needs to be multimodal, and that's why many big company, whether it is Facebook's Meta or whether it is Amazon or it is Google, they all are experimenting with the multimodal artificial intelligence. And we can quote example also, like on 25th of September, Chat GPT. Well, you will be well aware of it. Okay, OpenAI announced that it had enabled its GPT 3.4 and GPT-4 models to study the image and analyze them in words. And hope you had used the Chat GPT. If not, please try to use. This is very interesting feature, and you can ask some of the question. You can also ask like what is the syllabus of UPSC, how to prepare for UPSC. They will give you the data, okay, and it will be giving you the information in like the manner the human can provide you. So you can also use it, try to experiment, try to learn, try to get an idea, okay. So it will help you to expand your knowledge in the technological sector as well. So these are the experiments you should also do. There is a little suggestion from me, but it is a good suggestion, okay. So now when we talk about the applications of artificial intelligence, applications of multimodal artificial intelligence, there are varieties of applications. Even in the current time, the futuristic applications may be predicted, but currently it is not applicable. But in the coming times, it can be applied. Like text to image model. From text, the artificial intelligence can convert into image. They can convert into video as well. And also language translator. You use the Google Translate. You use the translate of various applications, from which principle they are based on. They are basically based on artificial intelligence, and in coming times the accuracy of the translation will be getting increased because of these multimodal artificial intelligence, okay. So in the coming time the capability is going to enhance. That is the important point. Along with, there are various applications that can be utilized, like to curbing the hurtful speech which is spread online via different media like social media, and how they can curb the hate speech. For example, there is any speech which is posted in the social media, so the artificial intelligence model can track the keyword, can track the emotions of the users, to understand whether that a speech is hate speech or not. And if that is hate speech, they can also block the content. So that is the way the artificial intelligence can work, and for this there requires the multimodal artificial intelligence, okay. And that's why you can see, like in 2020, Meta, which is basically the Facebook's company, was working on a multimodal system to automatically detect hateful memes on Facebook. And in coming times, we are becoming fond of social media. Everything is shared on social media. So what is shared in social media, the content you can also receive via social media. So that's why if there is a hate crime, there is like bad emotions floating on the social media, you will be absorbing that. So this is not a good thing. So that's why there is a need to control it. And also this can be used in autonomous driving, car and robotics, and in futuristic many more applications is going to happen. And when we talk about it in the medical sector, like processing of the CT scans, like various CT scans occurring in a daily basis, but there are lots of data that gets generated, so its processing requires time. And to have a efficiency in the processing, to deal with the patient crisis in a rapid manner, there is a need to have a faster processing of the data, along with identification of rare genetic variations. All needs artificial intelligence, and they can analyze the complex data sets of images. And for that there is a need to be having multimodal artificial intelligence, because in multimodal there is a chances to have higher accuracy in the artificial intelligence. So that is the point. And tell me about some more applications of artificial intelligence. Can you predict about the futuristic applications of artificial intelligence? Can you link in the railway services? Can you link in the airplane services? Can you link in the agriculture? Can you link in dealing with the climate change? You can link all that, because the application is very much wide, and whatever you are linking, that means that can have some applications in the coming times. But we have a proper research in the coming days about it. So that is the point. Hope you understood in great detail. And now we are shifting to the next article discussion, and that is related to GS paper 2. Okay, and that is also a very important article. And why this is very important article? Because everyone try to earn money, try to become millionaire, billionaire, many more, try to achieve some positions, ranks, and many things. But what we observe that even despite achieving certain level of satisfaction, income, higher monetary value, but the mental health is a big issue in this century. Despite we are having the increase in the capacity, we have increase in the economic growth, many more things, but mental health is a very concerning issue nowadays. And we have discussed many more reports in our discussion that also highlights and substantiates our point. And this is also a very important but ignoring subject done by various society. We ignore these type of incidents, and because of that we have the depression incident, the suicide incidents that all are going on. And it is not only about India but is in the whole world. So how to deal it, and what are the factors affecting the mental health? But the article here focuses on the mental health of the informal worker. Why we are focusing on the informal worker? Because informal workers are more vulnerable to the employment crisis, the income crisis, the nutritional crisis, the health crisis. Okay, and because of that, all these have a mental impact. And if there is a mental disturbance, that means mental health is going to deteriorate. And if there is a deterioration in the mental health, that means they can take the risky decision in life, like they can also do suicide, or they can face the challenges of depression. So how the income insecurity, how the employment vulnerability do contributes to the mental health disaster, you can see. Okay, so as per the report, you can understand, but let's understand some important point. Today, that is 10th of October, we have World Mental Health Day to raise awareness about the mental health. And the theme of this year is mental health as a universal human right. Remember, you can write these points in your answer. Okay, and a study by the International Labour Organization says that 15% of the working age adults globally live with mental disorder. Can you believe it? But this is a reality, and in coming times, if certain actions are not done, that means this type of incidents may also increase. So the factors affecting the workers' mental health is like unemployment, unstable or precarious employment, or workplace discrimination, or poor and particularly unsafe working environment. And these are the challenges posed by whom? Formal or informal? Yes, informal workers. And that's why informal workers are more vulnerable to the mental health. And remember also, these informal workers lies where? Whether it is in the developed country or the underdeveloped or the least developed country. Yes, you are right, least developed country. So the vulnerability of the mental health is where? Least developed country, underdeveloped country, developing countries. So that is also point to note. Okay, so we have highlighted important factors. Now when we talk about India, so India is also facing the challenges of mental health. Why they are facing? It is all because we do have the lots of informal workers working in the workforce. Okay, you can see the data, 90% of the working population is in the informal sector. That is a very big challenge, and not only a big challenge, that also highlights that we are not able to convert our informal sector workforce to the formal sector workforce, despite we have the 70 years of independence, 75 years of independence. Okay, so that is also a big challenge. And the Indian workers are facing challenges like we have unsafe working environments, long hour works, little access to social or the financial protection, along with they suffer high uncertainty and deep precarity. along with the negative emotions they came about, like about the thinking about the future insecurity. Okay, and along with they faces the discrimination, and discrimination like in terms of wages, in terms of the like promotion, many things. And this type of discrimination is also reflected based on gender, like women faces more discrimination in terms of wage, in terms of availability of work. So these all increases the issue of mental health in India. Okay, and there is also stigma around unemployment, like if you are unemployed, then your friends or the people around you will tell that the age is going on and you are unemployed, so you will feel a stigma from inside. That is also important point. Okay, and in addition to, we have limited access to mental health care. We do not consult doctors if there is a mental issue arising, and because of that, extreme steps may be taken by the person who are facing depression or the emotional crisis. Okay, and when we talk about women specific issue, then women faces gender disparity in the workforce, in the home, and you can see that with over 95% of India's working women engaged in the informal sector, and they do not have social protection. And also the a very important thing that is reflected in India is that they faces patriarchal structures. Okay, so that is the point. And also the State of Inequality in India report 2022 highlights that unemployment rate actually increases with the educational level. Specifically, when we talk about the educated young woman who shows an unemployment rate of 42%. So, what this represents that despite women are getting more educated, but when we talk about the employment potential of these women, they are not rising. In fact, they are declining. That is a big concern. And why this is happening? Maybe due to the patriarchal mindset that the husband is working, you don't need to work, you need to work basically for the caring of the child. So these should be eliminated from our society, and for that awareness is needed. Okay, and also there is a need to have a quality of employment in India, and also long term social security for them, so that their insecurity towards future should be eliminated or minimized. Okay, and when we talk about the aging population, India, although represents one of the highest demographic dividend in this coming times, but after certain years, like after 2050, there is a concern that the aging population is going to rise. And remember that aging population are basically the dependent population. Aging population as well as the population of the child, they are dependent population, which are dependent on whom? Which are dependent on the working population. So if the working population's income or the employment quality is not good, that means the healthcare for the elderly is going to be impacted. So that is also important point to highlight, that there is a need to have better quality of employment to the working population. Okay, and you can see that India will also become an aging society in 20 years, but there is no proper social security roadmap for them, and this will expose them to the economic vulnerability, to the financial vulnerability. Okay, because they are more economically dependent on the family, on the son or the daughters to live with a better lifestyle. Okay, so that is the point. And you can see that census of India 2011 shows that 33 million elderly people are working post retirement in informal work. Why they are working? There may be like they are facing financial insecurity, so they are working. Okay, that is one point. But people do work also so that they should be engaged with the society. This is also one factor. So you can understand all of that. And when we talk about the social security in India, then we don't have the proper social security, and also the government's initiative to have a proper social security is not well functioned. And that's why people, specifically the informal sectors, are facing the mental distress. And also the COVID-19 do had very much impact on the informal workers in India. And also the post COVID world recovery, the recovery of the informal workers was no so much high, and they faces financial instability, along with they are not able to eat the proper meals. And we have a Manrega that provide the guaranteed employment, but we are seeing that in the current year's budget, the funding of the Manrega has been slashed. This is not a good thing, because the demand of the Manrega and the works in the coming time may increase. And also, if the proper and the timely transfer of the money doesn't happen, that means they can also face the livelihood crisis. Okay. And you can see that in 2021, the National Crime Record Bureau reported that 26% of the people who died by suicide were daily wage earners. Okay. Thus, India requires a proper and better social security scheme that should be based on promotional, meaning from time to time the income should increase. Okay. And also preventive, meaning that if there is a economic distress, then there should be a protection to deal with that economic distress. And protective, aiming to ensure relief from the external shocks, like we have seen in the case of COVID-19. Okay. And in the future there may be like another pandemic, who knows, because of the various dynamics we are seeing in the climate change and the biodiversity loss and the deforestation and many more things. So care needs to have a drastic improvement. And when we talk about India's budgetary allocation for mental health, there is very much less allocation. You can see we have about 1% of total health budget having the allocation for the mental health. And also this 1% of the budgetary allocation have over focus on digital mental health program, like tele consultations. Okay, like digital consultations. But for dealing with the mental health issue, there is a need to have community based care. People should go visit to the community healthcare center and to do have a proper conciliation. Okay. And also recovery oriented and human rights oriented care is needed. So in conclusion, we should have a proactive policy to improve mental health recognition and action, which is very very critical to uphold the basic human rights to good health. And if we are able to have a good human rights along with having good health, then the sustainable development goals will be able to achieve. Like we have the sustainable goal 3 that talks about good health and well-being, sustainable development goal 8 that talks about decent work for all. That means our achievement towards sustainable development goal will depend that how much quality of health, whether it is the mental health, whether it is the physical health, we are able to provide to our citizens, to our population. That is the crux of this article. Hope you understood in great detail. Now we are shifting to another article, and you can relate this to the society section. And this is also very important. Why this is very important? Because the Nobel Prize in Economics was given to Professor Claudia Goldin. And why I am talking about her personality? Because she had done extensive research that how, despite 200 years of economic growth, the gender parity was never achieved. Women still are facing the discrimination, the inequality. So some of the points I will try to extract from here. Okay, so you can see and you can remember the name of the personality and what type of research she did. Basically, it is related about understanding of the gender gap in the labor market. And we have already talked to you, like she had studied about 2 years 200 years of women's participation, and despite continued economic growth, women's pay or the income did not continuously catch up to the men's. Okay, so why there is a gap? So as per the study from her analysis, gender gap basically changed over time. But there is a also very important point, and you can quote it like the gender gap varies with the stage of development. For example, in the developed countries, you can see about the Iceland, you can see about the Denmark. Here the gender gap is very much less, but when we talk about least developed countries or developing countries, the gender gap is very much. So it depends on the stage of development, so we cannot have a single policy to deal with the gender gap. It depends that your country is in which stage of development. Okay, so that is also important point. And one important point that the research highlighted is that what happens in people's home reflects what happens in the workplace. So in the home, if woman is facing discrimination, that means there is a greater chance that in the workplace they may also face the discrimination. And in case of India, this finds to be something justified, because in many news articles we are seeing discrimination in the workplace between women and men in terms of wages, in terms of employability, and many more things. Okay, and also when we talk about the woman role in the job market and the income they receive, basically it doesn't only influenced by the broad social and economic changes, it also gets influenced by her individual decision. If the woman had decided that they will not take the higher education, that means their potential to have a greater income from their job will get restricted. So it depends on women's decision that how much quality and higher education you are trying to get. So that will decide also your income. So that is the important article we have discussed. Now we have the next article, and it is related to the 2022-23 annual report of the Ministry of Home Affairs. Okay, what this report highlight is that the unfenced border and unregulated migration from Myanmar have been attributed as some of the factors responsible for the ethnic violence that we are seeing in Myanmar. So what is basically unfenced border? So you can see here, this is basically Myanmar. Okay, this is basically Myanmar, and the border of Indo-Myanmar is basically unfenced. Unfenced yani ki they are not properly demarcated, and there is basically free entry exit option for the population living around this region. Okay, so because of that, the people from Myanmar who comes here in Indian states, and the other report is saying that this is one of the factors responsible for ethnic violence in Myanmar. And you can see in the report, like in 2022, out of 201 insurgency related incidents registered in all of the northeastern states, and 137 incidents were registered in Manipur alone. Okay, so there is a recommendation that advanced smart fencing system of 100 kilometer along the Myanmar border will be going to be done to strengthen the existing surveillance system, because you are seeing that there is much violence we are seeing in the Manipur region. And not only that, in many times we see some of the ethnical violence in other regions of these northeastern states. So to deal with that, there is a need to have a proper dealing with the illegal immigration, and for that there is action recommended that fencing will be done, a smart fencing will be having proper sensors working on. Okay, so for the prelims purpose, you have to understand the location of the Manipur, and also the Myanmar and the border it shares with the Indian state. So you can see here, this is basically Myanmar, and it shares border with the states of Arunachal Pradesh and Nagaland, Manipur, and Mizoram. So you can remember it in the short form like Aruna Mami. Okay, Aruna Ma Mi, meaning Arunachal, Nagaland, or Manipur or Mizoram. Okay, this is the short form. You can remember. This is basically the trick. Okay, and you can remember for the means that unfenced border and unregulated migration is one of the factor for the ethnic violence in Myanmar. And there is the mentioning of free movement regime. What is free movement regime? And this can be a question for the prelims or the mains. So when we talk about free movement regime, as the name suggests, that it is a feature given by the government of India to have a free movement of the population which is residing along the border of India Myanmar, to have a free passage of the persons. Okay, so under the free movement regime, every member of the hill tribes, whether it is citizen of India or the citizen of Myanmar, and if they are a resident of any area within 16 kilometer on either side of Indo-Myanmar border, like this is Indo-Myanmar border and this is the 16-kilometer area, okay, of India. So they can go here, and also they can from Myanmar to come here also. This is basically the free movement regime, and for that there is a need to have a border pass, and this border pass has 1 year validity and issued by the competent authority. Okay, and once they have the issue border pass, and they can stay up to 2 weeks per visit. Why? Because the population in this region is basically more culturally integrated. Okay, they have emotions with the population lying around each other region. Okay, so India shares 1643 kilometer of border with Myanmar, and about 1472 kilometer border demarcation has been completed, and remaining will be completed in the coming times. Okay, and tell me about the arrange basically arrange the states with respect to the length of border. Okay, like we shares many border with the various country, arrange them in the lengthwise from maximum to minimum. Okay, this is the article, and now we are shifting to another article, and it is related to a stroke. And these type of news are coming more frequently. Recently we have talked about hypertension. Okay, recently we talked about heart attack. Now we are seeing about the stroke. Why this type of burden is increasing? There is a analysis going on, but this is very worse situation. Like in the coming times, we are advancing on the one side in terms of the economic growth, in terms of the technology, but on the another side, the disease, whether it is communicable or the non-communicable, whether it is the lifestyle or non-lifestyle based disease, they're increasing. Okay, and this is about the brain attack, and brain attack is also called a stroke. And what does it mean? It simply means that if the blood supply to the part of brain gets stopped suddenly, or the blood vessels in the brain burst suddenly, that this is an example of brain attack or the stroke. And because of that, that part of the brain does not able to function. But this is basically preventable and treatable, but people do not have awareness about this, and that's why this becomes one of the leading cause of death. And as per the data and a report, the stroke, which is a highly preventable and treatable condition, could lead to nearly 10 million deaths annually by 2050, and this will affect primarily low and middle income countries. And this report has been published in the Lancet Neurology journal. Why this low and middle income countries? You have to answer. Why? Mostly from the disaster angle, these country gets affected? You have to tell me in the comment section. Okay. And also by 2050 it is estimated that contribution of a stroke death in these country will see an increase from 86% to 91%. That is also a big challenge. These countries do not have resources, but the disease burden is increasing. That means their survivability will be getting affected in the coming years to come. So some of the recommendations like establishing cost-effective surveillance system for precise epidemiological stroke data to guide prevention and treatment, along with public awareness needs to be elevated, healthier lifestyles needs to be adopted, along with a widespread campaigning via utilization of mobile and digital technology. Okay, and capacity building, training, provisioning of equipments, treatment, affordable medicines, and there is also one important point like allocating adequate resources. Okay, and now we are shifting to the last article of the discussion, and it is related to Indian Ocean Rim Association Council of Ministers meeting is going to happen tomorrow, like on the 11th of October. Okay, so Sri Lanka is going to chair this meeting for the 2 years. Okay, and when we talk about this association, it is basically the regional grouping of countries associated in the Indian Ocean region. Okay, and there are many more members, like 23 members, and also there are dialogue partners, and they basically comes together to cooperate on various priority areas. Okay, like the fisheries sector, along with the like academic and scientific cooperation, maritime safety and security, disaster risk management, because in the Indian Ocean region you can see that there are many disasters like cyclones. Okay, these comes frequent basis, so there is a need for cooperation, and IORA is a good platform to have it. And also we have a cooperation in trade and investments. Okay, so these are the priority areas that IORA works on it, and Sri Lanka will chair this council meeting. And when we talk about the IORA basic, so basically it is intergovernmental organization which is aimed at strengthening regional cooperation and sustainable development within the Indian Ocean region. And we have a 23 member states bordering the Indian Ocean, and we have a 9 dialogue partner. And you don't need to remember the dialogue partners. Okay, just you have to remember the member states, which member states are a part of it. And it was formed in 1997, and its secretariat is in Mauritius. And Mauritius is basically country located where? Okay, tell me in the comment section. And it brings together representative of government, business, academia for promoting cooperation and closer integration among them on various sectors. Okay, and this also needs to be promoted. Why? Because this will enhance cooperation among these countries, and this will strengthen the security of the Indian Ocean region and for these countries as well. Okay, so we have discussed that, and there are the member countries, and there is a task for you, like you have to identify the countries having the flags, and these all are member countries. For example, when we talk about India, India is a member, so this is the country which is Sri Lanka. So similarly, this is a task, you have to identify the name of the country, and it will help you in remembering the member countries. Okay, so now coming to the last, that is the question we have asked you initially. So we have talked about the importance of solving map based question. This will boost your marks in an easy way. Okay, so practice the mapping series in a very good manner, and you can see the map here, that this is the Mediterranean Sea, and this is the region where the Mediterranean Sea is basically in the eastern part. So the country you are seeing here, like we have the Syria. Okay, so you can see here that Syria is a basically bordering with the Mediterranean Sea. So if the option 4 is not there, you can eliminate it. Now we are left with option C or D. So when we talk about like uh, Jordan, okay, so Jordan does not share border with the Mediterranean Sea, so we will eliminate Jordan as well. So we have left with only C option, and the C option is correct. And I am giving you one more task, that please tell me the bordering countries of the Red Sea, and also what is the strait here which I am highlighting. What is the strait here which I am highlighting? Tell me in the comment section. This will help you to regain your confidence in solving the prelims question. So friends, for today's, there is the end of the article. Hope you understood in great detail. We'll meet again with the next series of discussion. For now, thank you very much for the participation. Please do share, subscribe, join our Telegram channel for the PDF. Thank you.